The college and high school indoor track and field season is heating up, and as it heads down the stretch before the outdoor season is out the blocks in the spring, talent-wise, our city schools the college recruiting hotbed that they once were years ago. Now, joining me for a discussion of what's happening now as compared to the past is Ray James, track and field coach for Benjamin Cardozo High School in Queens, New York. Welcome, Coach.
Pleasure to be here again.
Pleasure to have you back.
The pleasure is all mine.
All right. As other Vinny Giles is also track and field coach at St. Peter's High School in Staten Island, New York. Welcome, Coach.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having you. Let's talk about what's going on in track and field. Matter of fact, we just got over the Milrose games over the weekend. One of the biggest meets that used to be held at Madison Square Garden, but they moved that up to Washington Heights, right?
Right. Up to the Armory, New York, the New Balance Armory. And the meet actually is a better quality meet than it had been perhaps in the last 15 years at the Garden. Okay. Because the top athletes didn't want to come to the Garden and run on the 150-meter track. So eventually it ended up at the Armory, uptown, the New Balance Armory, headed by Dr. Norbert Saunders. And the quality has come back up to where it used to be like maybe 20 or 30 years ago.
And that's plus there was a space, too, as far as the lack of space, right, at the Garden.
Yes. Right, absolutely. That track was very small, and there's no way really for them to really battle out on the track. A lot of the elite athletes were afraid to run on that bank track, that wooden track, because it was so small.
Where are we as far as the state of high school track, the state of college track in New York City, New York State?
Well, I would say, I mean, this is an amazing time in track and field, you know, with social media and online websites such as MileSplit, such as ArmoryTrack.com, Tully Runners, and also Ocean Breeze website. These kids, as it's going down between Twitter and everything, national records are being broken. These tracks are super fast, bank tracks, IAF certified tracks, where you just go online or on your phone, it pops up that a kid just broke a national record at 800 meters or 400 meters. And I know with my kids at St. Peter's boys, they get excited about that stuff.
Absolutely.
As far as also the various athletes, and when you look at track and field, you look at the athletes, but people never look at the coaches like they look at the football coach or look at the basketball coach.
Right. Well, a track coach has a lot more to do with his athlete than I say a basketball coach, because a basketball coach teaches skill, but we also get our runners in condition. It never stops for us. The season never really ends. I mean, we work with our athletes from the summer straight through cross country, through indoors, through outdoors, and then we're preparing again. So it's not like our kids take a rest. We're always involved in their conditioning, their training, and their progression. Actually, you know, we have to have a program. So we're in the weight room, we're on the track, we're doing drills, we're working on form, we're working on technique. So for us, it really never ends. So it's more of a relationship with each runner that we have in track and field.
This month, next month especially, you have a lot of indoor championship meets taking place here. Let's go over some of those meets.
Right. Well, actually, we just had the Catholic School Championships take place this last weekend. They call it the City Champs over the years, but it's called the Intersectionals. And that includes teams from Long Island and all of the Catholic schools in New York City. And that's a big meet. It's always the Catholic school meets and the PSAL, which is a public school athletic league. And that's coming up this Sunday. And I'm glad you pointed out that there's more than, it's an exciting time, because right after our championship, which is a PSAL championship, the public school, the following week, for the first time ever, we have the New York State Championship being housed at the our new facility in New York. Vinny can speak about it. Ocean Breeze Athletic Complex in Staten Island.
I mean,
state of the arts.
We have been excited.
Is this better than the track uptown?
At the Armory, they're about equal.
Okay.
They're about equal. I mean, they're both fast tracks, and they're both attracting top talent from all over the country. But as a Staten Islander, I mean, we've been at this since 1990. I mean, you being an alumni of Curtis High School, you know, you trained in the cold, you was outside. We didn't have the pleasure of training indoors. We had Cromwell for a little while, but just the fact that these kids could train indoors, we was excited. From 1990, Staten Island fought for this. 1998, formed a group, Staten Island Track, came together, fought for it, and the Parks Department took it over. And now this facility is real to us. You know, for the kids that are running now, they're very excited with training. And the fact that New York State Championship is being held here in New York City is phenomenal. And it's like a craze for these kids to want to get on the track here in their own home turf.
Now, we also have the national championships that are taking place next month at the Armory.
The following week after the state championships, you have the national championships taking place at the New Balance Armory. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this for sports. New York, known for track and field over the years, known for basketball. I don't think that we've slipped a bit for track and field. I think we're continuing to peak and peak and peak because we have great facilities. But not only that, we have great tournaments. It doesn't get any better than the nationals, and had to have the state championship here. If you go into, say, a Curtis High School, if you go into Boys High School, if you go into Bishop Loughlin right up the street from here, you have an opportunity to see them, to come on out and see them at the state meets, watch them participate at the state meets, and following that, I'm sure that there's a possibility that they will have participants in the national championship, which is at the Armory. I mean, think about it. The national championship right here in New York, the state championship in New York. Come out in New York, it's right here for you. If you're going to school here, I beckon you to come out. You'll have a great time.
I want to add to what he did, because the other day on Mile Split, they had a little article and it talked about all the top New Yorkers. Mile Split's a website. So I clicked on Mile Split and it talked about the top New York talent. That's some of the best in the country, NCAA, which New York State is a top state in track and field and cross country.
And more graduates out of high school receive scholarships, college scholarships, than any other sport.
By far. And that's what these commissioners need to really know and promulgate. And I think it's very important for parents that have children, student athletes, eventual student athletes that want to go to high school and eventually get a college scholarship. It could be worth $200,000 to $300,000 in 4 years. Check out the schools and see how they're ranked and see who's sending kids to these various schools.
In terms of some of the teams that are out there, like South Shore High School, they have one of the top relay teams, especially boys.
Right. I like to say my team is one of the top relay teams. I think we would.
St. Peter's?
We're ranked number 4th in the New York State, my miler. Ryan Tierney's ranked 4th in the state in the mile. I have 2 other kids ranked 22nd and 30-something in the 2 mile. And in the relay, our ranking, we was number 1 at one point, but I think in the state we're like about 4th place right now in the state.
The hotbed, especially here in Brooklyn, used to be boys and girls. Boys and girls are still doing it, but there are other schools now throughout the borough. Right?
Oh, without a doubt. You have Paul Robeson. You have now Bishop Loughlin's making a nice comeback with Coach Greg Armstrong out there and Coach Mary. He said they're doing a great job over there as well. Some of the other schools, South Shore's coming back up. Tilden High School is back. DeWitt Clinton is back on the map. Now, Benjamin Cardozo, we're in a rebuilding mode right now. We are the school that has sent a couple of girls to the Olympics this year. Deja Stevens, of course, and of course Dalila Mohammed, who won a gold medal in the 400 hurdles. You can't forget Natasha Hastings, who went to AP Randolph, also was on that 4x4, along with Phyllis Francis from Catherine McCauley here in Brooklyn, although she's a Queens young lady that I had the pleasure of coaching with sometime ago.
Coach, we got to close it out, but before we go, I want to show you a picture. Way back in the day, before encyclopedia was Wikipedia, that was myself out there running track at Curtis High School in Staten Island.
I see you doing a blind stick pass, which is very good. Not bad.
That was back in the 70s.
Not bad biomechanics.
Not bad mechanics, right?
That's right.
Hey, we were just raw.
That's all right. That's all right.
But thanks for coming.
It's a pleasure. We look forward to coming back.